Okay, hi folks. Hope this isn't too loud. My face is right up against the mic, I think. But so Wednesday afternoon, took off a little bit early from work with approval, and you can see a little bit what's going on here. Hopefully, we have the Karoo on here, and lo and behold, there's the Garmin. And the reason for that is because if you got through the entire video, and I applaud you if you got through all 40 minutes of that, you would have seen that the Garmin didn't actually record the ride, or I'm sorry, the Karoo didn't actually record the ride that I took on Saturday. The information at the end looked correct, the mileage, that sort of information, but Strava wouldn't accept the upload because of corruption. So I did find a nice fellow on the Garmin forums who has a paid copy of the Fit File Repair tool who fixed it. I did do a comparison of that briefly in Golden Cheetah, and maybe I will figure out if I can add that to this. It was mostly okay. There was some weirdness with the amount of elapsed time and things like that, but and obviously there's still the issue with the average speed. I came home today partly because I thought I'd heard or read on the forums that there was going to be a software update for the Karoo today, and that did not materialize. I can't, or my device doesn't see it yet. So anyways, I'm going to take about an hour ride. I'm going to throw this slightly better, what I hope. It's not cell phone video this time of the handlebars. It's actually a small video camera. So I'm going to take this with me. If I think of anything or see anything during the ride, I'm going to, I'll stop and record. I'm actually going to hit the start now, so you guys can kind of see what's going on. I do have the right bike selected on the Garmin. The Karoo doesn't really have bike profiles the same way at least this Garmin does. So I'm going to hit start here on the Garmin just to kind of start recording. I'm going to hit start on the Karoo, and I actually am going to select a route. Well, I thought I was. It says I have no offline routes. Okay, we're going to pause the video briefly and before I get really frustrated with this thing, and see if I can quickly use my Wi-Fi to get this route local. I'm turning this on again right now because I hope you can see it. It is actually downloading the route rather quickly. And it says route download complete, so we're going to try to start this ride again. The Garmin's still running. I didn't stop it. Okay, so that did immediately appear there. This is about a 15-mile route. I'm assuming with turn-by-turn directions, but we'll see how that goes. If anything interesting happens during the ride, I'll stop and record. Otherwise, I may just record when I get back and see what happens. So I'm going to hit start, and we're going to roll before I run out of time from work. Let's see what it does. So it is reading the heart rate. For some reason, it's reading speed. It is giving me a direct next turn, which does appear to be accurate from my driveway. So we'll see how this goes. Hi again, folks. So we are mid-ride. It's super windy. I hope this actually records properly, but some just quick interesting things to note. So navigation does appear to be working fine, although when I started the ride, you can see how I'm at the end of a dead-end road basically, so it's telling me to turn around. When I started the ride, that indication was appearing down here on the main screen, or I guess what I would call the main screen. It's page 1. So also of note is that apparently my power meter battery was dying, so I'm not getting power in cadence, but I had a limited amount of time to ride, and I mostly want to see if this actually records properly, and less about how much power I'm putting out on the last day of February. The other thing to note, and I feel like I've been really negative in the last video maybe, or if any of you are following the forums, I'm on there too, and I'm, you know, a little disappointed, kind of trying to hold out hope, but still a little disappointed. One thing to note, and it's probably hard to tell from this, both devices are in the shade. The screen on this is awesome. I mean, let's call it like it is, you know, and give them credit for the screen. But I'm having a hard time actually checking both screens while I'm riding, mostly because it's so windy today, so I'm trying to just keep myself on the road and not end up in traffic. But the screen is awesome. I'm actually having a really hard time reading the Garmin, partly because of where it is. I think maybe if it was out front next to the Karoo, it would be easier. So it's partly because it's sitting on the stem here, but it's partly just because there's so much extra real estate here, and the brightness is just awesome. So, you know, kudos to Hammerhead for at least that part of it. You can see again that the average speed is totally screwed up. They apparently know about this. They have posted at least a couple of times to the forums to kind of give people an update. Not nearly enough in my opinion, but they do know about this. I don't know what it is, because this seems like it should be simple math, but you can tell I'm, you know, almost a half an hour in. I've only gone 7 miles, so I'm probably averaging 16. This says 19. I was riding along at 17, and it was showing 19.6, 19.7, 19. It was just going up when I was riding below the average. So it's dropping now, but obviously I've stopped. So, you know. You also noticed, if you watched the last video, that I did get rid of that annoying pop-up. You can turn on. The only way to get rid of that is to turn off the auto pause function. So, you know, it's not pausing, so the ride time is going up, which again I don't really care about. I also noticed that the time of day changed on me. I did have this at AM and PM, and now has changed. I think it changed on its own. I'm not really sure. Interestingly, it's showing 3:12 up here in the pull-down menu, like the Android pull-down menu. But it's showing military time there. So, anyways, so screen's great. Average speed's still broken. Power's broken because I think my battery's dead. But again, screen's awesome. Heart rate is actually matching what the Garmin is showing right now. The ride time's a little off because I started the Garmin first, all the races and pausing, so the Garmin is now showing a much lower ride time of 22 minutes, whereas this is at 28. Yeah, I'll give you a quick look around here where I've stopped, because it's a pretty spot. Hi folks, back from the ride. So a couple of interesting things, I guess they're interesting to me. So this, again, never popped up again when I was on these various pages here. It only seemed to pop up on the map, which is fine. The map was good. There were a couple of places where the arrow and the turn that I had to make were just off. It could be just the little kind of country roads that I live by. Sometimes one road will turn into another by name, but not really be a turn. I'm sure lots of people have that situation where they live, but it was particularly confusing in a couple places where the arrow seemed to be pointing one way and I was turning another, but it was really me staying on the existing road and it was pointing out the next turn. This little indicator here of how far you need to go to the next turn could really be improved. Once it drops below, I guess it must be 0.05 miles, it goes to 0. So you really can't, if there's two streets in rapid succession, you can't really tell without looking at the street sign which one you'd want to turn on. So maybe they could change this to go to, maybe when it gets down to 500 feet or something, it could go 400 feet, 300 feet, 100, and kind of tick down that way. Again, the routing's good. You can sort of see the map. I kind of did a kind of a big lollipop loop, so it's showing me crossing over myself a couple of times. Interesting note about the Garmin that I forgot it had is we've got a big storm coming in here the next couple of days, which is why I'm out riding today to try to get something in. But it's actually got a weather alert up here with an aerial flood watch because we're expecting a lot of rain. So that's kind of interesting. I haven't stopped the Garmin. Oh, high wind watch too. That's something obviously the Karoo isn't doing, at least not yet, giving any kind of weather updates based on the area that you're in. So I'm going to go back here and just take a quick look. The ride time is obviously off because I started one in one place. The Garmin is on auto pause. This is not. Again, power is not showing up. Average speed is obviously wrong. Over an hour, 15, So, again, I don't mean to beat a dead horse. They know this. They're supposedly addressing it, but it's just weird that what seems like a simple calculation is not correct. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the Garmin. I'm not going to save it yet because the Garmin is attached to my phone. That's going to cause an immediate upload to Strava, which is not going to allow this to upload to Strava because Strava won't allow duplicate efforts. So I'm going to hit the pause button here on the side. That brings up this what was an annoying pop-up, which doesn't need to be. You can just turn off auto pause if you don't care about it continually recording time even when you're stopped. So we're going to save this. Hopefully this is focus. I can't see the screen well enough to know whether this is focusing. So that's the save ride button. I have no idea if any of this is correct. It's only recording heart rate and speed because that's the only sensors that were actually working. I have to get a new battery for the power meter. So what I'm interested in is whether this fit file is corrupt from today, or whether some change that I've made in settings or just perhaps the length of the ride is going to allow this to upload. Well, that's edit name. I'm not going to bother with that right now. Okay, so here's the Strava upload screen. I'm just going to leave the name alone in case somehow messing with the name is causing a failure of the upload. These are the different options: private, trainer, commute. It was none of those. It was just a ride. So I'm going to make an upload attempt here. The last time this failed, there was actually a little hammerhead icon up and well, there it is. So is that a failure or is that a completion? It says activity successfully uploaded to Strava, or uploaded to Strava successfully. So that should be interesting. So the only way to really check that is to check my phone. But that was the same logo. It's like a little hammerhead icon that pops up in the taskbar or the menu bar, whatever you want to call it, on a phone. So that actually looks like it works. So that fit file must have been okay. I have no idea if it was anything. I mean, who knows? Could have been removing auto pause. Maybe auto pause when it pops up so often like that somehow screws up the fit file recording. Like I said, I thought there was going to be a software update, but it didn't show up when I went to settings and tried to force the software update. So I guess that's an improvement. I don't know. It just seems like it's random. Some people are reporting this problem, some people aren't. I'm going to save the Garmin file, and I'm sure Strava is then going to complain at me about trying to upload two of the same thing, but that's okay. We're testing. I'll either just delete one or I'll mark it as private. If I get a chance and I can figure out how to record me kind of looking at these in Golden Cheetah or some fit file comparison tool, I will, and see if there's any significant difference. Otherwise I may just stitch these videos together. So second ride, better than the first. It was shorter, but the fit file saved. I wasn't getting that annoying pop-up. The screen is definitely great. I'm not sure if it's visible here, the difference in these screens, but this one, at least, and maybe it's positional or part positional and part screen, definitely much more readable. Everything is bigger. Even with the turn-by-turn directions, the map is still probably as big as that Garmin screen in total, even when it's just kind of the top 2/3. So things like that are great, and if they can get this software squared away and, not corrupt fit files and make things that should be working out of the box work, then, we're on the right track. But, with software, they may fix one thing and break something else, but we'll see. Hopefully this is, I should say it's a step in the right direction, but there's no change from this device. There's no software update or anything. It just, today it worked better. Maybe it likes following tracks. That's the only thing I did differently. The route that was successful, worked, followed it, took me home. Not that I didn't know where I was going anyways, but it was easy to follow on the map. So I guess we'll see. If I can get another ride this weekend between raindrops, I will. And maybe there'll be a software update in the meantime. Thanks for watching.